strong and has taken that leadership role by the horns.
And like that, we are ready to go here in Gainesville. Florida off of back-to-back SEC road victories. The opening tip controlled by the SEC Player of the Week, and quickly handed off to the Freshman of the Week in Chris Tanaki. Trying to get Ronnie Williams going early in this game. There goes the junior, and she puts in the first deuce of the night.
And just like that, Ronnie Williams is in attack mode. This is Florida, Georgia, and she really wants this game, and she wants to establish that inside game early.
Wants to bounce back after a tough performance in the last Florida-Georgia game. She had 7 points and 7 boards, but was 1 of 12 from the field. She's off to a good start as Georgia looks for an answer in the hands of Shakobia Barbie, their do-everything player. And she did everything there but stay in bounds, couldn't walk the tightrope.
She's trying to do everything for them. She's a lefty, she's very physical, very tough, very athletic, and really, Georgia plays how she plays. If she gets going early, Florida's gonna get going. Georgia's gonna get going.
Chris Naki wants a three, it's not there. Rebound controlled by Merritt Hempy, one of a few players who did not play in this game the last time it happened. Here is Griffin, one of the best three-point shooters in the SEC, but not that time. And Florida wants to push, which is where they're most comfortable. Chris Tanaki had 10 assists last time out. Nice dump down from Ronnie Williams and a scoop home for Carly Needles.
Carly Needles, a player that doesn't just settle for threes anymore. She'll attack the basket. You see her cutting to the basket there, and a nice layup on the backside.
Marjorie Butler, one of the best in the SEC in terms of assists to turnovers, the best as a matter of fact. She's almost always on the floor for the Dogs, likes to shoot a little bit as well, but couldn't get it to go there. Georgia stays empty. They missed their first couple shots. Now here's Needles trying to attack. Ran out of room. January Miller just off the mark. Rebound controlled by Griffin. Now here's Butler, the senior from Knoxville, stripped and stolen away. Florida best in the league in steals. Now here's Chris Naki. Miller wants to try another three. Not good again. Lorenzen, good board, and can't get it to go. January Miller coming off of an 0 for 8 performance in Ole Miss, and unfortunately for Florida, doesn't seem like she's shaking it off quite yet.
And the senior would really like to start to get going early in this game. You see taking that shot, attacking the basket. Florida would like to see her get going as well, as she did not hit a shot last game.
Gators did not shoot the three well at Ole Miss. They did everything else well. As the Bulldogs, nice job feeding the post. There's Patches Roberts in the starting lineup, and she gets them on the board here 2.5 minutes in.
Now Roberts showing that back to the basket style play, but she can pull out. She'd probably prefer to shoot the three, but does have the skill set down low.
There's the freshman attacking again. Draws the one-on-one with Barbie. The no-look pass to Needles, and a three that was short all the way. Now Chris Naki will reset it. And the player of the week on the move. Strong take and drew the foul.
And again, it's an interesting role you're seeing Carly Needles in right now for Florida, really attacking, being that aggressor and not just settling for threes. She attacks the paint, gets the foul, just a little slap on the wrist, and she's going to find herself at the foul line. Really, Florida's setting the tempo of this ball game right now.
Needles had 11.6 boards, a couple assists in the win at Ole Miss, which was a dominant one for Florida, but they're having trouble finding the basket right now for their shooters. Needles doesn't miss often. She's a 79% free throw shooter. A lot of these shots so far for the Gators are looking a little bit short. Maybe they amped up too much, do you think?
And I think that can happen when you're playing the Florida-Georgia rivalry. You're going to come in a little bit more excited. Florida was really out here on the court early, getting shots up, so maybe just a little bit too many butterflies in them right now is an rare miss for Carly Needles at the line.
Very rare to see her miss two free throws. This has only happened, I think, a couple times ever. As she flies in there, gets the board, wants to launch it, ill-advised pass there. Florida does like to push, but sometimes that does work to their detriment. They turn the ball over among the most of any team in the league. After the two quick buckets for the Gators, they've gone really cold. Georgia looking to take advantage. Here's Butler finding Roberts. She's a post who can shoot the three, and she showed it right there.
And we just talked about how she has back to the basket moves, but she prefers to shoot from outside. Florida's going to have to get a hand in her face as she shoots nearly 50% from the three-point line, right at 47%.
Very impressive for a 5'11 forward. Here's Chris Naki looking for the answer. Nice pop off the window. puts Florida back in the lead as this frenetic pace continues in the early going.
And I think this is a taste of what you're going to see all night. Both teams prefer to push in transition, as you see Georgia goes right back at Florida, late getting back in transition defense, and Florida right back at it right now.
Krasnacki attacking again and drew the foul on the floor. That's going to go against Barbie. And very important that she doesn't get in foul trouble for the Dogs. So she just does so many different things for them. And they don't like to play a lot of players, unlike the Gators, who we see right now making mass substitutions.
Yeah, you're going to see with Florida a lot of fresh legs off the bench. They're going to rotate every 2 to 3 minutes, whereas Georgia, they sit strong with their key players. And Barbie is definitely one of those. As we said, they really go as she goes.
Anderson coming off of her first real impressive performance in the SEC, but that shot was way off the mark. Gators have a lot of shooters that are struggling right now. Anderson, Westbrook, Miller are the three, especially, that are trying to find their ranges. Good action down low. Ronnie Williams, Ty Fleming combining on the block party. Now Westbrook finding Anderson on the wing, trying to work around Griffin, asking for the screen. Florida just one of their last 6 from the field after a 2 of 3 start as Krasnacki dribbled it off her own foot. Now Fleming the other way, affected the shot without fouling. And now the Gators want to push again. Williams has an open Westbrook on the wing, launches the 3, short. This is kind of what Georgia does to teams, Brittany. Florida was a 2 for 3 start, but since then has been more reflective what the Dogs do defensively.
Yeah, and you can see Georgia really kind of stepping up their defense. They got that steal, missed the layup in transition. Great defense back by Florida. But you can see Georgia saying, hey, we've got to amp up our defense. That's how we create our offense.
Haley Washington up top to Roberts. She's been the hot hand for the Dogs, scored almost all their points. Washington attacking Ty Fleming, blocked but a foul. Fleming is second in the league in blocks, but sometimes has trouble keeping it legal with the follow-through. And we'll talk about that when we come back after this first timeout. Georgia leads 7-6 here in Gainesville.
On all cylinders right now.
Haley Washington, a 67% free throw shooter, and she'll make the first attempt of the game for the Bulldogs. If only Krasnacki's ability to see the future of the floor also extended to the Powerball numbers.
Yeah, that
we all
would have
could have
been
made
nice.
a lot of money last night. Washington averages 3.5 points, nearly 2 boards a game. Can't get the second to go, and Ronnie Williams collects the board. Ronnie's coming off of a double-double, her 6th of the season. Fleming and Anderson working up top. Florida trying to get out of a cold spell. They've made just one of their last 7 and trying to feed Fleming inside to do it, but another turnover. Something we're going to watch tonight because Georgia only turns the ball over 13 times a game and Florida is up over 20.
And that's going to be an interesting matchup for both teams to see who really sets the tempo as Florida steps in and gets a steal. And again, we see a push in transition, just a mishap on the pass. Sometimes Florida gets a little bit too antsy and makes passes that aren't really there. That's one thing you have to read. Is it there? Is it not? Right there, unfortunately for Florida, it's a turnover. Georgia on the flip side.
And there's another turnover.
There's another turnover.
And a great pass from Ronnie Williams, but it won't matter. A charge by Williams will wave off the basket.
Hey, you see right now, both teams stepping up their defense. Florida in a full court press causing a turnover, but unfortunately a mistake, getting a charge on the pass.
Georgia really making the Gators uncomfortable right now, and this is not something Florida really saw a lot of. Tennessee and Ole Miss had a lot of trouble defending the Gators as the Bulldogs break the press nicely. And this jumper off the mark for the JUCO transfer Armbrister. Anderson trying to push for the Gators, and that's going to be another charge.
So if you're Florida right now, you see back-to-back charges and offensive possessions. You've got to change what you're doing. You've got to come to a jump stop, find your teammates, but make a better decision because right now Florida is getting called for those charges, and you got to change the way that you're playing, sometimes by how the game's being reffed.
Florida with 5 turnovers on their last 7 possessions. So they've been stuck on 3 of 10 shooting the ball for a while because they've been turning it over before they're getting shots off.
Against a team like Georgia, you can't make those mistakes. You have to value every possession.
Carla Batchelor's in for Florida for the first time as Griffin slices through the defense. Nice block from Haley Lorenzen, but the putback is good for Haley Washington, cleaning up the dirty laundry. And now Georgia starting to really impose their will here and make this their style of game as that shot's way off from Anderson. Florida looking uncomfortable for the first time in a while on the offensive side of the floor. Peoples, nice tip, couldn't get the steal. Now the open three on the way. This one no good for Roberts. And a clear out rebound for Westbrook. Gators trying to get to the rim and find something easy. That was not very easy. And another empty trip for Florida, though Carla Batchelor will get hands and force a jump ball. That'll give it back to the Bulldogs.
And you can see the tempo for both teams is really push, push, push. First shot opportunity, and not a lot of passing around from teams that are really high in assists. That's how they score. They like to pass the ball and get shots off assists.
What are you seeing right now from Florida? They look extremely flustered.
I think this Georgia defense is catching them off guard a little bit. I think they knew it was going to be physical. I think knew it was going to be fast, but maybe not quite this speed. And I think, again, a couple butterflies, but those butterflies have to be gone now.
What a behind-the-back pass there by Marjorie Butler. Not quite into a shooting position there for Hempy. Now she'll try and set it up top. The 6'3" freshman for Marietta, Georgia, Kalia Robinson, in the game now for the Dogs. She immediately makes an impact, finding Griffin. And Georgia increases the lead, a 9-0 run for the Bulldogs. Can Florida find an answer? Peoples trying to make it happen, and she does. Often that spark off the bench.
Often that spark, and that's exactly what Florida needs. Attack the basket. Get those easy buckets when the outside jumpers aren't falling.
Peoples scored 13 points the last time Florida played Georgia, which was a disappointing 52-45 loss here at home to end the season. Griffin left wide open for a three, and that's what she'll do, one of the best in the league. And after that, Amanda Butler wants a timeout.
And she's hit a three in every single game so far. She has 183 total threes in her career, now 184. So that is what she does. You've got to get a hand in her face because she can knock them down and knock them down from deep.
So as we see Georgia really working nicely, what does Florida need to do differently on that defensive rotation?
You can't necessarily suck into the penetration. The penetration in off the dribble, that's drawing the defense. In a wide open three, a little backside screen by the big gets open for the three, so you're gonna have to either jump that screen or not help in and suck in as much on the drive to the basket.
And let's talk about Georgia for a second. They're 12-4 overall. They're 0-3 in the SEC, but they've played 3 straight ranked teams. So you look at the record, not necessarily reflective of what they're capable of.
Not at all. This is a very skilled team, a very good team led by their first-year head coach. And you know, to start the season off, you go to number 16 A&M. You have number 20 Missouri, number 10 Kentucky, and then you're coming into Florida, who's now ranked number 20. So a tough schedule for them, but they're a very good basketball team.
Westbrook controlling the point. Can't find Lorenz inside. Needles quickly closed out by a much bigger number 4. And now Westbrook, not a good pass there, right to the freshman Robinson. She's trying to push. Needles comes back, can't get the back tip from Carla Batchelor. And Georgia really starting to run out here, almost a double-digit lead with 1:45 to go in the first quarter.
And you see Robinson, just an athletic 4 that can run the floor for this Georgia team. She got the steal and just goes right in transition.
Needles has been the do-everything player for the Gators in the SEC. They've got her covered up, and Kristen Aki can't get that one to go. Foul called on the floor on the rebound. Not been a lot of fouls this first half. Neither team shooting yet.
No, not a lot of fouls, not a lot of attacks to the basket that have caused the foul. It's kind of open layups to the basket in transition. No one really there, maybe a run through. But you see, you said Florida looks a little bit frustrated offensively playing in that half-court set, something that they're not too accustomed to. They like to push the ball in transition. If they can get that shot, then they pull it out if it's not there.
Looking for an easy bucket down low for Ronnie Williams. Nice job to bait the freshman and jumping over the top.
Yeah, and that's where you have to use your athleticism and use your statute on the floor. You say, hey, I'm a junior, I'm going to ball fake, and I'm going to get you in the air.
Williams is 2 for 2, and there's good pressure by Florida to force the turnover. Here's January Miller. Finds an open Kristanaki, gives up the 3. Nice dish down low, but it's tipped. Ronnie Williams will keep it alive for the Gators, who are trying to find passing lanes that maybe just aren't there today against this suffocating defense. Needles wants a deep 3. Short. Another rebound for the Dogs. Florida is 0 for 6 from 3. They are 2 of their last 24 from long range as the foul is called on the Gators moving down the court.
And you can see with those stats, Georgia's going to bait you into taking that 3 because that's not a great stat. So until you hit 1 or 2, then they're probably going to come out on you a little bit more. Carly Needles are going to come out stronger on the 3-point shot, but not necessarily anyone else. So you're going to have to knock down some 3s, and that's what's clogging up the middle for Florida right now. Georgia's really protecting the paint.
Three-point shooting, the only offensive category where Georgia has an advantage over Florida. And look at the job there by the freshman Robinson. Stayed with it and got the bucket.
It's awareness. She had Carly Needles on her, and she was asking for the lob. So that's awareness by a freshman, and had a much smaller guard on her, saying, hey, give me the lob. I'm going to wait. I'm going to be patient.
First points for the freshman in the Florida-Georgia rivalry. Lorenzen can't find her range on the jumper. Florida continues to really struggle shooting the basketball now, below 30%. And the Dogs will have the final possession here of the quarter. Barbie working around Kristanaki, and a hand check foul is going to get Georgia to the line.
And that's what Georgia was looking for probably. Hey, let's get to the line, or let's get the last shot and the best shot available. And right now, that's going to be from the foul line where the clock stops.
Been a dominant first quarter for the Bulldogs. And now Shakobia Barbie will shoot free throws for the first time today. 69% is the senior from Murfreesboro, Tennessee. And can't hit the first. Barbie leads the SEC in total rebounding and is the active career leader in the league in steals. So you never really know where she's going to impact the game, but chances are it's all over the floor.
It's all over the floor. It can be scoring, it can be rebounding, it can be steals. She really does it all. That's why she is really the motor behind this Georgia team right now, not hitting free throws though.
Gators trying to get a shot off here at the buzzer. Kristanaki's too late though. Would not have counted anyway. And that'll get us to the end of a first quarter dominated by Georgia. The 0-3 start doesn't seem to bother them. They're coming on the road to the 20th ranked team in the nation and bringing it to them. 19-10 early lead for the Dogs. Florida will look to bounce back in the second quarter. Coming your way right after this from Gainesville on the SEC Network.
Talked about the schedule that they had. They had a rough start, but they're a very good team, and they're showing it here tonight.
Simone Westbrook finding Carly Needles off Kristanaki. Can't get open for the shot though. Florida still working around the perimeter a lot. Kristanaki attacking the basket, drew the foul. And maybe that's what Florida's got to get to a little bit more.
I think that's what they have to do. You have to make the referees make a call one way or the other. You go in and you don't expect the foul. Go in hard to finish. Get something going there inside the paint, and then work the ball outside.
That's the second foul against Merritt Hempy. That could be important. We'll keep an eye on that. Into Ronnie Williams. Beautiful move, but couldn't finish it. And then Needle stays with it, gets a steal. Ronnie wants to try again. Second time's the charm for the junior. She's got 6.
And I think they talked about that in the last timeout. Hey, let's establish ourselves again down low. That's how we started the game. Let's go back to that. Establish the paint. And you see right there off of a great steal from Carly Needles, the SEC Player of the Week, goes in and makes that difference for Florida.
Florida's leading scorer, Williams, averages nearly 10.5 points per night. Gators looking to string a few good possessions together as Fleming gets the block, but a fortuitous bounce right to Barbie. Shot clock did not reset. 5 to shoot. Are they going to get a shot off? Clark trying to make it happen at the buzzer, just short, but Hempy is going to keep it alive. Good awareness there from the Dogs.
And that's why Hempy is so important for this Georgia team. She makes plays like that. She might not be get the ball in the offensive set necessarily, but they do look for her. She is one of their leading scorers, but she does all the dirty work down low as well.
Averages 7 boards per game for Georgia. As they'll try and take another shot at getting the lead back out to 9 or maybe 10 if it's Griffin. Though Griffin wants a short one. Can't get it to go. Rebound fought for by Clark. Got it, then blocked by Fleming. Thunderous. Sends it back into the floor, and now the Gators want to push.
You see Florida going to a 2-3 zone, being aggressive on that backside, and a phenomenal block by the transfer from the junior college.
This pass tipped, but kept alive. Florida trying to get it inside, but a lot of size down there for the Bulldogs. Kristanaki pops a triple, got that one to go. First 3 of the game for Florida after missing the first 7.
And you see Florida again going on a run of their own right now, and then getting a steal, and you see the defense stepping up. That's what he can do. Florida turns their defense into offense, just like Georgia tries to do. And you can see right now, they're going on a run, and they're saying, hey, we need to get back in this game. Now a 2-point ball game.
A quick little 7-0 spurt as Ty Fleming launches herself toward our broadcast position. Nice catch made by the Georgia play-by-play man, Jeff Dantzler.
You're catching it.
As we've learned, you got to be ready for anything when you're sitting this close.
When you're sitting courtside, you've got to stay in tune to the game, because that ball can come your way anytime, and you don't want to get caught on camera getting knocked in the head, as we see a lot of times in ball games.
And LeBron's coming right for you. Try and move if at all possible.
That was monstrous, that game.
Especially if you're the wife of a major champion in golf. Georgia will try and slow things down a little bit here. and settle in this half-court set. And they're going to get called for an illegal screen in the process.
And you see Florida, usually a team that likes to play more man-to-man defense, has gone into a 2-3 zone to give Georgia a different look, and an illegal screen on the backside. I thought maybe they might call 3 seconds as they were inside for a little bit long, but on the flip side, you know, Georgia trying to keep the lead that they had, but it's dwindling as Florida makes this big push.
That was the first foul on Butler, second team foul on the Dogs this quarter. It's their 9th turnover, by the way. They only averaged 13. Here's Ronnie Williams finding Needles. Now Westbrook trying to stay hot. Goes with a floater, can't get it to go. Westbrook today, 1 for 3. She's 3 for 20 in the SEC shooting the basketball. Florida really wants that number to get higher because she was a critical part of the offense during November and December. Barbie thinking about the 3. Instead, the entry down low. Florida tries to draw the charge. They'll take the block instead. But good work down low trying to keep that alive was Roberts. Can't make the shot, though. Now Florida chance to tie or take the lead. And that won't do it. Although the last touch by Georgia. So it will stay with the Gators. But no one really valuing the basketball here today.
Bounced off a couple players in that possession. But yeah, you see a lot of turnovers right now. A little bit of sloppy play by both teams. You know, hopefully that'll dwindle down a little bit in this second quarter, and they'll get into a flow of their offense, whether that be in the half court or in transition. But both teams, that transition game has slowed down a little bit.
Chris Sanaki scanning her options. And sloppy pass there from Westbrook. Peoples trying to get back and affect it. Won't be able to do anything about that. The lay-in for Tiaria Griffin. She's got 7 points to lead all scorers.
If you're Florida, you have got to use some ball fakes against this Georgia team who has heavy, heavy pressure in the half court. They like to deny the basketball, and they play those passing lanes. So throw a little ball fake.
Butler uses the ball fake that Brittany just mentioned, and then gets it right back from Washington.
You can see they're probably used to having to use the ball fake because they have to play against their own defense sometimes.
Roberts, good no-look pass down low. Florida went for the steal, didn't get it. And as a result, Georgia now getting back on track offensively.
And that's a steal. If you go for it, coaches are always like, if you're going to lunge for it, you better go and get it, because as you see, it results in an easy layup because there's no backside defense. 7
points now for Washington. She and Griffin really stealing the show so far. Nice move by Peoples. Can't connect on the floater. Fleming went over the back trying to get the rebound.
I like the aggressive play by Florida to try to get that offensive board, but when you're not in position, sometimes you have to pull back and say, hey, I'm going to get it next time, and work to get that inside position. But Georgia clearly had it in that possession, and that's her second foul of the evening. So that's going to hurt Florida a little bit, as she's been playing great defense for them, had some blocks on the night. She gets her hands up. She alters a lot of shots. Sometimes doesn't get the block, but just coming in there and being big makes a difference. First team foul of the quarter on Florida. Georgia's got a couple. As the Bulldogs back out to a 6-point lead, Florida trying to change things up defensively and show some more pressure. Butler, though, slips right through it, wants to take the J herself and knocks it down. And Butler, a ball player for Georgia out of Tennessee, has come in. She leads the team playing very hard every possession. That's what they say. She's our leader that plays hard and never stops. Westbrook gave up the open 3. Batchelor will try it. She'll knock it down. And a rare 3 from Batchelor in the corner. She likes to shoot them, but she shoots them sparingly. And good for Florida. She knocks it down for them. Big-time plays. She was scoreless last time against the Dogs. She's on the board now. And Florida's made their last 2 threes after going 0 for to start the game. Here's Butler up top. Peoples sags off her. Left Griffin open. Nice step back around Anderson, but too strong on the 3. And the rebound tipped out by Florida. See, that's a vulnerable spot when you're playing a 2-3 zone. That backside rebound, when you're shooting a long 3 like Georgia was, you've got to make sure you... As they're on you, you then have to match that. You're not necessarily the underdog anymore trying to go and prove something. You're going to prove something now, being with a target on your back sometimes. After the dead ball rebound, Georgia trying to work around the zone that Florida's throwing at them. Worked very well against Tennessee, and they're going to get called for 3 seconds in the paint. So we see early dividends. And when you're running that 2-3 zone, you've got to work together almost on a string. When the ball moves, you have to move on the flight of the ball. You can't wait for the catch. That's what happens sometimes in zones, and why you get open looks and open shots on the backside is because people watch the ball move and then they move. Florida right now really working together well in that zone. January Miller continues to struggle and then commits the frustration foul there on Barbie.
It's always tough, Britt, when you're struggling, and Miller is in a prolonged slump right now. It's always hard to know whether the answer is, do you just shut it down or you just keep trying to shoot out of it, and at what point does that hurt the team?
Well, I think when you're in that slump, you have to have the back of your teammates as well, and I think she definitely has that, and you've got to shoot yourself out of it, but you have to also, keep your emotions in check as well, because you're being a senior, you want to perform well for your team, and she wants to do that more than anything. And so right now, yeah, a little bit of frustration, and that's when you have to lean on your teammates who have your back.
It's the second foul of the quarter on the Gators, and the second on Miller as well as she takes a seat. Georgia once again trying to solve this puzzle as Lorenza and Anderson throw the double team. Barbie steps back out of it. Can't get it to go, but another tough rebound from Washington, who puts it in.
And I think one of their answers now is get the ball in your best player's hand, and Barbie, let her shoot and then attack the glass, something Georgia is very good at.
When the Dogs are getting a ton out of Washington, she only averages 3.5 points a game. She's got 9 right now as Carla Batchelor just stole that away but can't finish. Florida struggling to get the ball in from close range today.
And that's something you got to power it up. Don't expect the foul call. Play through it, and if you get the foul, it's a bonus.
Griffin, deadly three-point shooter, third best in the SEC. Gives way to Barbie. Now Butler off the screen. Can't find the mid-range game. Another offensive board for Georgia, but they can't put in the short bunny. Already 9 offensive rebounds for Georgia. Florida's got 4 by comparison. As Peoples called for a carry, trying to explode to the basket.
Just got it caught on her hip, and she's questioning the what, because carries in this day and age, a lot of players do it. So when it's over-exaggerated, refs definitely call it. And you see Florida's defense, they're going to have to protect the backside rebound. We touched upon it, but that is so critical. As Georgia right now, they're sending 2 and 3 to the boards to try to get that rebound because they're struggling in the half-court offense right now on their first shot opportunities.
Both teams now with 10 turnovers. That's probably okay for Florida as long as it stays close.
They want that to stay close because Florida, they're used to turning the ball over. That's something that they don't fear necessarily, but they definitely don't want it to get too big.
Anderson challenging the freshman to take the three. She won't take the bait. Griffin gets stripped by Ronnie Williams. Ronnie just strips it away. And a nice pass up ahead. Here's Kristanaki. And a beautiful play there by Butler, and also smart to know that at that point she couldn't do anything when she was standing out of bounds.
And it's very smart. Don't throw the ball underneath the opposing team's basket to try to save it, because just go out of bounds with it, because then your defense, your team defense can set up and try to get a stop.
Kristanaki, nice find for Williams, who gets blocked. Gets it right back, and then drew the foul. Can't quite get the and one, but she'll shoot free throws.
Fouled and slides all the way out to the three-point line, really selling the foul.
For dramatic effect.
Selling the foul in that possession. She definitely got fouled. You got to like the battle down low. And that's the third time maybe that they've ran that play, and they got points off of it the first 2 times. That time, you just got to battle. And in a game like this, Florida-Georgia, it's really about the battle.
Ryan didn't quite make the cut for Best Supporting Actress this morning when they announced the Oscars, but she was still making her case right there. Maybe for a Critics' Choice Award. 2 for Ronnie. She knocks down the first. Has really improved her free throw shooting each year she's been here.
And that's something she's had to do, and she's going to have to work on it still and improve it going into her senior season, because when you're a big down low, you're going to get fouled a lot. And so you want to make it count from the line, and especially how the game has changed into 4 quarters, into shooting 2 shots at 5 fouls. Free throw shooting is becoming so important in women's basketball.
The Daytona Beach native is over 70% now on the year.
That's huge for Florida.
As Carla Batchelor and Cassie Peoples will both come off. Fleming and Needles return to the action. Georgia maintaining a little bit of distance here. Florida trying to chip away. And Butler trying to prevent that. Nice answer, the double team. That's a beautiful way to break the press.
Yes.
And then Fleming gets called for the foul down low.
That's one thing, Georgia, once they slow down, they have a beautiful press break. I think you nailed it right there. They skip the ball so well. They see the floor well, and they can pass over the defense. They push the ball in transition right over when the trap comes, and then another skip pass, and it results in a foul. But they're confident in their press break when they just calm down. Very good team.
It's the 3rd foul on Ty Fleming. That's definitely an issue for the Gators. Free throws here for Roberts. She's a 75% shooter and adds to her total today. She's got 6 points and 3 boards. Junior from Powder Springs, Georgia. Actually came as a transfer from Syracuse, so despite originally being from the Peach State and had to go up north before she realized she wanted to come back home.
Come back south.
As she connects on a pair.
Yeah,
Georgia back up 7.
She's a special player for Georgia because she can play that guard and that forward position. She's very athletic, but she likes to shoot the 3, which helps them out because it really stretches the defense.
Ronnie attacking down low, and another charge. This time, believe it's on Kristanaki for a little off-arm shove.
That sometimes when Europeans come over and play American basketball, they like to kind of, when they go to the basket, use that off arm to kind of shove away. And that's something you kind of have to curtail a little bit when you come over to the States because they don't allow that off-arm shove.
11th Gator turnover. Both teams with 11 now as Williams pokes this to the sidelines. And we talked about defense versus offense, which side would win out. Right now, it's about the defense for Georgia.
I was just about to touch upon that, and it's about the defense really on both teams right now, getting a lot of steals, a lot of hands on the basketball, but Georgia defensively is playing very well.
Roberts, not a good look inside. And she's got a big freshman down there in Robinson at 6'3", but she needed about 5 more inches to make that play.
Sometimes it just gets away from you a little bit right there. That's exactly what happened. She had the backside position, but the lob pass just a little bit too high.
Andy Landers may not be here anymore, but his stamp on the team remains the same. They
Absolutely.
are big, and they don't go that deep into the bench. That's always been their MO.
And they play the pass. They have been known for their defense. They have built this program upon defense, and you see it again, a little kickball action. They are very, very active.
How strange is it, as long as you've been around the game, seeing someone other than Andy Landers in the sideline?
It is so strange. He was such a phenomenal coach, and he just did so much for the game of women's basketball and Georgia as well. So to see someone else different, it is very odd.
Anderson looking for the open 3, too strong. And Georgia on a run out. Nice outlet pass to Griffin. Griffin trying to get inside. Needles can't take the charge because the jumper comes from the far side. Another offensive rebound. Washington is all over the floor today.
And that's what Washington does for them. She's a power post. She's got a great mid-range in her offense, but she also is like the garbage player. She gets those rebounds. You see her kick it back out. If the shot's not there, she doesn't force it.
Butler and Roberts can't quite get on the same page. And now it's left to Barbie with 8 to shoot. Now Griffin, maybe a deep 3, instead gets inside the arc and knocked it down from 15 feet.
And showing her ability not just to settle for the 3, but make a good decision and take the ball inside and really take what the defense was giving her in that possession.
Back out to the biggest lead of the game for Georgia at 9 points. Kristanaki in the teeth of the defense. Lorenzen trying to get going. That's too strong. And the loose ball controlled by Georgia. Needles with a strong task here. Griffin just can't get it to go as Lorenzen grabs the board and got fouled.
And Georgia wondering how did I get that foul, as Butler was on the ground. She wasn't even trying to make the foul, but one of those wrong place, wrong times situations. But you see Griffin in transition, she'll stop and pop it. Once she hit that one pull-up jumper on the weak side, next possession down, she's feeling it, and she says, hey, I'm just going to stop, pop, and she has the consistency. She can knock down that shot. That's something Florida has to be aware of. She won't necessarily drive it into the paint. She'll look to pull up for 3.
She's the active career leader in 3s in the SEC,
and
so she's got the right to do that whenever she so chooses.
She has the green light. Sure. She has the unlimited green light for this Georgia team.
Meanwhile, Florida continues to struggle from distance. Now 2 for 11 after that miss by Kristanaki. She's just 2 for 7 shooting the basketball here today. Georgia can almost take this all the way down here. Butler trying to get around Needles. Beautiful drive and got the finish to go.
That was just great handles and a good finish. As Florida has 3 seconds to see what they're going to do with it. And what does Georgia do? Gets a steal, what they do best.
The most difficult offensive half for the Gators this season. Georgia brought it to them here in the first 20 minutes, and they've got a 33-22 lead to show for it, really putting a stop to a lot of momentum that Florida had built coming in. But the Gators have been a second-half team, so we'll see if that holds true today.
Have to do something different to change that, make it 10-1.
Joni Taylor looking for her first SEC win. She's been all around the league. She played at Alabama. She was an assistant at LSU, her alma mater, and then obviously Georgia, where she then was elevated to head coach after Andy Landers retired.
Keeping it in the SEC.
Absolutely. And speaking of LSU, Nikki Fargas will be here on Sunday with her Tigers as they're struggling as well. But Georgia's not struggling to start the second half. Merritt Hempy gets them going. Biggest lead of the game for the Dogs.
And not at all. She had a nice little up and under move, kind of quiet in the first half. Really didn't even have an attempt offensively, which is kind of strange for one of their leading scorers.
Ronnie Williams has been the lone thing today that's really worked for Florida, but that did not work. And now the Gators have to defend against this starting to stretch out. Griffin can do that to you, trying to shake needles. Instead, we'll go to the floor general and Butler, who actually is just 1 assist, 2 turnovers today. She's the best in the league in that department as Griffin can't connect off the screen. Ronnie Williams shuttles it ahead for Westbrook. The playmaker trying to get going. Carla Batchelor runs into traffic, ran right over Barbie, and somehow did not get the call. She looked as guilty as could be, though.
I think by the way the game started, they were calling those charges. I think she thought, this whistle might go against me right now, but no whistle. Ball underneath out of bounds for Florida. The offensive set, they run a little bit different for an open 3.
Batchelor, who made her first 3 in nearly a month in the first half, is no good that time. And the Gators continue to struggle to find consistent offense here. Butler finding Hempy, trying to stay hot in the second half. Not able to do it that time. Ronnie Williams pulls down her team-leading 5th board, and then the Gators throw it out of bounds.
And that's just one of those ill-advised passes up the floor. Something Florida, again, we talked about, has struggled a little bit making the decisions in transition. When is it a good pass, and when is it not a good pass? When should I hold it back and find my guard, and when should I throw it ahead? And right now, you have to value the basketball in every single possession because you're trying to battle back in this game.
Barbie not known for the threes, and that's why. All air, but once again, Hempy, who does the little things for the Dogs. Roberts finds a cutting Barbie for the scoop shot.
And Barbie strong to the basket. She can attack, and she's not only a defensive player, she's an offensive player as well, averaging almost 13 points per game.
And it's not good for Florida. That's her first bucket of the game, and they're down by 15.
Yes.
Chris Snaki gets blocked. Westbrook stays with it. She can't hit from close range. Batchelor flies in and gets the foul.
And this time right now is really crucial for Florida. You've got to get a couple stops defensively, and you've got to convert on the offensive end and battle, just like they did right there. Either find yourself at the line or get those 2 points. But this is a really crucial point for Florida right now. You don't want this to stretch out to 20 points.
And that's an important foul, too. It's the 3rd on Hempy. And Florida really wants her off the floor because it makes rebounding much easier if she's not around. Batchelor shoots 60% from the line. She can't hit. And let's also keep in mind how important free throw shooting has been to Florida's 85 points per game. They're 2 for 5 tonight.
And that's something that they're not going to be happy with because they have established themselves as one of the best free throw shooting teams. They really have stepped to the line consistently and knocked down shots. Tonight, really struggling. And I know that's something that the Florida staff will not be very happy with because Batchelor knocks down the second for them, but maybe that can get them going a little bit from the free throw line because it is very important.
If you go back to the end of the second quarter, Florida now has 1 point in the last 5 minutes of play. It's been an eternity since they made a field goal. And meanwhile, Georgia's not slowing down here, looking for their first conference win during a ridiculous stretch of 4 straight ranked opponents to start SEC play. There's no easy days in the SEC, but theirs has been especially hard. Good pass to Roberts, not able to connect. Butler gets the rebound and almost got the and one, but she'll go to the line as Georgia continues to dominate on the glass right now.
The senior nearly got the and one play as she is just battling up for it. I thought that might fall. Florida's going to have to be careful with the fouls. You don't want to send this team to the line, but also just in general, you already have Fleming with 3 fouls and Williams now with 2.
Marjorie Butler is a 69% free throw shooter, and she can't quite get the bounce. And she's someone who right now wears red and black, but you might see her wearing orange and blue next year. She's been admitted to Florida's medical school, also at Vanderbilt, UVA, UAB, and more.
It's just phenomenal. It's her she's getting her 2nd degree in the spring in biology. And so she is a very, very smart player, not only on the floor, but off as well.
An academic All-American,
yes.
And every year she's been with the Dogs.
And if you're going to med school, you probably should be.
Great find from Needles to Fleming, but she can't connect, and then misses the second putback as well. 8 minutes for Florida without a field goal, and it's over to the Dogs.
And you can see they're trying to find something right now. The transition game has been shut down by Georgia, and that's really where Florida excels. maybe they can get that going off their defense. You see them jump into a full court press, so maybe that can spark some of their offense.
Florida 0 for 6 to start the second half. They're probably a Georgia bucket away from having to use a timeout. Butler didn't want the three. Only shoots 17% from distance, so she'll smartly look for a better option. Griffin double team. Roberts wants the three. Just couldn't get it to go. Have the offensive board for a second, and then they'll call a foul in the open court. That's going to go against Butler as she took down Kristanaki. And that will be her third foul.
That's a big foul because she got, if you remember, she got that foul underneath the basket when she was kind of falling down and tripped up Haley Lorenzen down low. Just a random foul. So now sitting in a little bit of foul trouble herself. That could be big for Florida.
But where does Florida go to find offense? Kristanaki trying to create it herself, and she draws a foul down low.
But I like that she went right at Butler, who just picked up her third foul. So she says, hey, I'm going to push the ball. That's a heads-up play by a freshman because she's got to defend a little bit different when you pick up that third foul because you don't want to pick up the fourth right now.
There's an easy bucket to break the drought for Simone Westbrook. Snaps a string of 12 straight misses from the field for the Gators.
When you miss 12 in a row, it's good to see the easy bucket go in, and that's just what they got from Simone Westbrook.
Westbrook's got 4 points, but a strong take to the basket that time from Roberts. And she continues to put on a good show. 9 points, 4 rebounds.
Georgia not backing down right now. They're showing their aggression on defense and offense, really attacking the paint.
Ronnie Williams a little short with a hook shot. Georgia looking for their biggest lead of the game, and they're trying to run out and transition to do it. Beautiful ball movement, and the finish by Griffin.
And right now, Georgia just firing on all cylinders. They're getting stops defensively and now getting transition buckets.
First player in this game into double figures. She's got 11. Kristanaki trying to thread the needle for Fleming. It's poked out of bounds.
I'd say we talk about her court vision. Not a lot of players can even make that pass, get it as close as she did. And you can see a little bit of frustration on her face right now, not connecting on a lot of passes, something she's used to doing.
The other thing for Florida is they excel so much when the entire team is scoring. Only 6 players have scored, which may seem like a lot, but that's half the players that Florida plays.
Yeah, half the players that they play, and really no one able to find the basket right now. I think you're right on. They're best when everybody is flowing in one motion. And
they'll draw another foul here before the ball goes in bounds, that time on Roberts. And this is one way Florida can get right back into this at the free throw line. We've talked about how well they shoot at 71%. They're 1 foul away from getting there for the next 5 minutes.
Yeah, and that's going to be huge for Florida. Find yourself at the foul line where you excel, especially when you're struggling to get the ball in the basket in court play.
Peoples is someone who can change that in a hurry for Florida. Trying to get open for a look. Thinking about the three, trying to get past Griffin. Nice dump inside, and then threw it to Fleming, who wasn't ready for it. But that was tipped out of bounds by Roberts.
The backside covered up by Roberts very well. They can see that scoop pass was coming, and they covered it up well. Florida underneath out of bounds, where they've been successful here tonight.
Peoples from Kristanaki, cut off the baseline. Freshman finds the no-look pass to the senior. Can't get the space for the three, tries the two, and can't get that to go either. Florida shooting 24% today. And this is one of the best offensive teams in the nation.
They know how to score the basketball. Florida can put the ball in the hole. They like to do it in transition. They can do it in the half court. But right now, really struggling to get anything going.
They really excel in transition.
Absolutely.
They've been held to just 2 points in the fast break. 5 seconds for the Dogs to get one off. Barbie might have to do it herself. 2 seconds, tries to step back, bricked it. And the rebound, last touch by Georgia.
And in a situation like that, the shot clock running down, she did exactly what she needed to do for her team. Get the ball to hit the rim and try to get a rebound. Something that Georgia's doing very well tonight, rebounding the basketball with 34 rebounds.
They're doing a lot of things well. They're dominating the second half, and they're dominating this game. 17-point lead.
Got to get consecutive stops on the defensive end, something they definitely can do.
January Miller, Dee Anderson, some newcomers in the game for Florida, trying to find any sort of spark. The sophomore, back to the senior Peoples. She's capable of going off in bunches. That's what she's going to try and do right here. Getting to the rim, now finding Miller. 5 seconds to shoot. Miller can't get it to go. Peoples will keep it alive, though. Florida gets a reset of the shot clock.
See the seniors step in and get the rebound. Second chance opportunities are going to be huge for Florida down the stretch of this third quarter.
Gators have made one of their last 16 shots. And that's another chance where Georgia played the passing lanes. Barbie flies through traffic and scores.
And you can see right now, Georgia playing with a lot of confidence. Florida's going to have to do something to combat that. They're going to have to take this momentum back into their hands and really try to change the tempo of the ball game.
Only 4 points for Barbie, and Georgia's up nearly 20 on the road. Miller on the attack again. Short on the scoop. Loose ball collected by Roberts, and then tied up there for a moment by Fleming, but a little bit short with the whistle. Then they'll call the foul. Florida would have preferred the whistle for the jump. Instead, it's another foul, and it's going to go this time against Haley Lorenzen. And she's been a non-factor in this game.
For those, you got to be careful. When you're going for the loose ball, you got to grab for the ball. Sometimes you get called for the foul because when you're reaching, you're kind of slapping a little bit, and that baseline ref saw a little bit too much, not grabbing of the ball, but kind of slapping of the arm.
For Florida right now, Brad, I don't think they really know what to do right now. I mean, the fewest points they've scored this year was 60, and that was slow.
Yeah, and not only not getting the points, it's the assists. They only have 4 assists right now on the evening, and they average nearly 16 assists per game. The same with Georgia, though. Georgia leads the league in assists with 17.5. They only have 6. So the offense is coming from different places for both teams.
It's an 8-0 run for the Dogs, as Tiaria Griffin just retook the mantle as the highest scorer in this game. She's got 13 now. And now January Miller will get to the line for Florida, but they look mentally spent right now, Britt. You see the frustration.
You can see the frustration. You can see when you don't see the basketball go through the net like Florida isn't seeing right now, 10 of 42 from the field. I mean, that's a struggle. You've got to mentally overcome that and come together as a team and say, hey, we got to find a way. This is one way to do it. Get to the foul line, knock down free throw shots, and stop the clock, because that's what Florida needs to do. And January Miller, the senior, stepping to the line, knocking down shots, and being that leader.
That number is staggering right there.
Yes.
And we're almost into the fourth quarter. This is what can happen in the SEC, Brittany.
Yeah, it's almost, if you're Florida, really unbelievable. You have not seen a number like that in a game. You are used to scoring the basketball, but again, that's SEC basketball. Any given night, teams can come to play, and you might scout one way and somebody else steps up big. That's why you play the game of basketball, and that's why you play in the SEC.
And the bigs have really been the story today for Georgia. Those have been where the unexpected points have come from. As the Gators force a pile up here, they'll get a jump, and that's another way to get the ball back.
And you can credit that to Florida's defense. The guards doing a great job defending Georgia's guards where the majority of their points come from. It's that second level when your big has to help over. Where's that second drop down where Georgia's getting the points?
Florida averages 45% shooting from the field. Today they're at 24. They have made just 1 of 11 baskets here in the third quarter. Only 4 points, remarkably. Peoples trying to change it. That'll help.
And she's a spark for Florida. She can hit consistent jumpers for them. She can get stops. When she gets going, she can get hot, and she can get hot very quick.
But Florida's still down 17 points, and that won't do anything to move the line the other way.
And that's where we talk about the help up. There are 2 people helped up on the Georgia player. They dumped it down to a wide open post player in the paint. You've got to have that extra rotation or just cat and mouse with her.
Last time out, Florida was 54-18 in the paint against Ole Miss, as that rainbow 3 is no good from Westbrook. And then a foul will get Lorenzen in the line. To give you the flip side of that today, Britt, Georgia has a 32-12 advantage in paint scoring.
And again, that is just attacking the paint. What Georgia game plan, hey, let's get the ball inside, let's establish ourselves. And they're doing that, and Florida's struggling down low.
Critical free throws. Every one of these free throws is going to be important. Down 19 late third quarter. Lorenzen, the sophomore from Iowa City, 67% on the year as she connects.
And that's her first points of the game. Someone who they run some offense through. They like to get her going early. She has a great outside jumper right outside the paint that she hasn't been able to find. They haven't been able to connect on that, as we talked about. Not a lot of assists tonight so far for this Florida program, who really thrives off team basketball. They pass the ball around very well. They share the ball. They're very unselfish.
Lorenzen scores about 10.5 points a game for Florida. As Britt mentioned, that's her first 2 of the night with under 2 minutes to go here in the third quarter. Georgia still up big. Ronnie Williams harassing defensively, forces a loose ball, and they'll go the Gators' way.
And that's exactly what Florida, they need to get that sense of urgency. You've got a minute 48 left in the third quarter. You've got a whole fourth quarter ahead of you. You got to get that sense of urgency and say, we've got to get consecutive stops. Every loose ball has to be ours.
Georgia now over their season average in turnovers. That's their 14th. And they have usually only 13 a game as another foul is called in the Dogs. And all these whistles work in Florida's favor.
Because it works in Florida's favor. Why? Because the clock stops. Exactly what Florida needs. The clock to stop and you to step to the line and knock down free throws, something they've excelled at this second part of the season.
And that's the third foul also on Haley Washington. Lorenzen right back to the line, this time with diminishing returns.
And that's what you don't want if you're Florida. The clock's stopping, not to get points off of that, but you've got to continue to battle, continue to play hard, concentrate, step to the line, and knock down shots.
At 9-9 against Ole Miss. Everybody had a good night for Florida for the
Everybody
most part
did, yes.
in the pavilion at Ole Miss.
A very nice new pavilion they put together. You see Florida starting that renovation already outside. It's going to be a great place to play, but Ole Miss, a phenomenal building they've created.
Gators chipping away. Now it's at 16. They have to keep getting stops as Barbie driving on Miller. Cut off, Washington traveled. And Florida gets another one back.
Yeah, and I think it's about making this Georgia team feel uncomfortable offensively. They haven't really felt that uncomfortable consistently yet. Now Florida's making them feel uncomfortable in back-to-back defensive segments.
Peoples with the floater. It's short. Got her own board, trying to get out of that jungle down low. And now wants the triple. Can't get that either. It's kind of been the way that today has gone for Florida. Now Georgia wants to run. Beautiful pass in transition, scooped home by the freshman Robinson.
And you see again just her athletic ability to run the floor and finish. That's what she does. She runs the floor well and she finishes on passes that she gets from her teammates.
The freshman hailing from my hometown of Marietta, Georgia, was a top 50 player in the country coming out of high school, despite not even playing her senior year of high school due to a knee injury. She's made a huge impact today.
And you can see she's going to make a huge impact in the future for this Georgia team. Really someone you can build upon down low.
Georgia's made their last 4 shots. Florida trying to get a stop here in the closing seconds of the third quarter. Barbie going baseline. Spins out away from Lorenzen, but then got partially blocked. Now Florida's got a chance to run. Peoples on the feed from Westbrook all the way in and then overshot it wildly. Ball trickles out of bounds. They'll stay with the Gators, 12 seconds on the clock.
Florida getting an underneath out of bounds to possibly close out this third quarter, and they want to close it out with a score. We'll see what they run here. They've gotten good plays for underneath out of bounds.
And they'd really like for Carla Needles to get involved in this game. The SEC Player of the Week has just 2 points.
And she's averaging 14.5 points per game in SEC play. She has been their go-to player, and right now Georgia, I think, knows that and had a game plan. Hey, we're not going to let her get going.
Gators in down low, and nice feed to a small plan in a big spot, Cassie Peoples, and then Georgia fumbled that, and that'll cost them a few seconds trying to get a last shot off.
Just get it in and out right now, and you see the underneath out of bounds. It's a huge part of the basketball game, and Florida's excelling at that here tonight.
Westbrook tried to draw a token charge. No, the clock never started. I don't know if anybody saw that. The clock did not start, although it won't matter because the charge is called, so it actually worked in Florida's favor.
Yeah, it does, and it gets another foul for this Georgia team on the attack. A good attack, but Brooke Copeland coming in off the bench. She's known for taking charges, and she stood in strong there. I don't know if that's what they're discussing right now. Or what do?
It's one of those things where you wonder if anybody else saw it. They went to about half court before the clock started. That was 6 seconds by my old Nike watch that's battery doesn't work.
If not, you see again just a press break. Georgia's actually a very good press break team. You see Florida trying to get 3 charges in that possession. Eventually gets 1 as she was actually inside the charge circle. I don't know if that's what they're talking about. I don't know if you can review that, but definitely inside the circle. But credit her, she still stood in there strong.
So another foul on the Dogs.
And that's on.
And that's the 4th foul as well.
That was on Barbie, correct?
No, that was the 4th on Washington.
Oh, Washington.
And she's been a really important player. But now they're going to check the clock. So how can you go back and revise history here?
I mean, you can't. And I guess, does that negate the charge call if the clock has expired?
Can you do that?
But I don't know that you can do that, because what if it's a game time situation and well, I guess you can
what
negate
if it had
the
been tipped out of bounds and the clock had stopped anyway, and then you continue and the charge happens with 3 seconds left?
Well, we'll see what they decide to do, but the better question is, when they see the replay, they're going to see that she was inside the charge circle.
So another question is, are you allowed to then change a call based on something you see?
The call. You can't.
You cannot.
Yeah,
okay.
You can't change the call on something you've seen. Once that call is made, you can't reverse it, as in, I guess you can in football sometimes when you throw the challenge flag, but not in basketball. But it'll be interesting to see what they see once they see that. Do they make it up later because of it? Sometimes that happens. But referees doing a great job here tonight, really controlling this game and letting the players decide the game. It hasn't been, a game where refs have decided things. They've made good calls, and it really let the players play.
Our rules expert and producer extraordinaire Mike Griffin says you cannot go back and change the call. So I wonder what they can do in this spot. It almost reminds me of in the NFL now, if you throw a challenge flag, let's say there's a play you think is a fumble and it's picked up and it's returned for a touchdown. You can't give them the touchdown, but you can give them the ball at the spot. But if you're already calling play dead, how can you take something away that already happened in this case?
You can't really. I don't know what they're going to decide here, whether we should put time on the clock, because there's 0.7 left on the clock. Florida should get the ball, but you can't advance it up yet. That's
right.
Only in the fourth quarter.
And the other problem with this, too, is if you go into the theory that the quarter should have been over and the charge should not have happened because the clock should have expired, you can't say that because Georgia was looking at the clock and their actions were determined by when the clock started.
And then someone on either team probably won't be very happy with this decision.
I guess I'm just not sure what the outcomes could be. What are the possible outcomes that they would discuss right now?
Maybe is the quarter over? We're going to call the quarter over. They're going to call the coaches over and discuss something across the court that we can't really hear right now, but we will find out.
It's usually pretty easy to figure out which one they're happy with. You look at just read the faces. Now we'll get an explanation over here from our lead official. Because the clock did not start properly, there's 2.8 seconds of lag. And after the clock was run, they put the stopwatch on it. The quarter would have ended.
So
they
no
are
foul.
going to take away the foul.
They're going to take away the foul because it did not. I guess that's kind of like a shot. If they got a shot off to win the game, they can negate the shot. So they're saying, I guess we can negate the foul call because it really didn't happen because the clock didn't stop.
When it's a really interesting call, too, because it takes away the fourth foul on a critical presence down low. And you just saw Amanda Butler find out the result of their investigation, and she's really unhappy about it.
Yeah, absolutely. But, in real life, that's what happened. The clock should have started, so the play wouldn't have gone as far as it was. So that's what they're saying. So now she has 3 fouls, not 4 fouls. A big play for Florida, for Georgia.
Washington, who has 11 points, 4 boards, has been a real challenge for the Gators to handle, is now given a foul back, and the quarter will be expired as a result. So, with that, we will step aside. Going to the fourth quarter, Georgia with a 14-point lead here on the SEC Network.
Bench that they haven't used very much.
Shakobia Barbeau missed the final 10 games of last season after breaking her leg against Tennessee. And has had a minimal impact today, but has done a little bit of everything. 4 points, 7 rebounds, 3 assists, as she finds herself in a double team right now. Nice job to pass out of it, but couldn't find the freshman Robinson, and that's one way Florida can, again, chip away.
And we've seen it earlier in this season. They can, and they do have the ability to come back from this deficit, but it's about heart right now. You've got to find it. You've got to play aggressive defense. You've got to make turnovers like that happen. Trap. I think we're going to see a lot of traps and aggressive defense from this Florida team this final quarter, as well as, what did we talk about? Attacking the paint offensively and getting that foul call and going to the line. But you must knock down the free throw once you get that foul.
That is just the first foul on the freshman big, Kalia Robinson. Leads the team with 15 blocks, and that time fouled in the process. So Lorenzen at the stripe where she's 3 of 4, but misses the first.
This is something that Florida struggled with this evening, shooting the free throw, and that's something they haven't struggled with as of late, something they've been more consistent at. Right now, for some reason, can't knock down that shot.
Shooting at 54% as a team. They average 71. It's kind of the story of today's game as Lorenzen misses both, but Ronnie Williams skies for the board, and that's out of bounds off the Bulldogs.
Great hustle by Ronnie Williams, the junior, coming in off an offensive free throw, getting in there, getting in the mix, and getting it tipped off the Georgia player. Huge play. Can Florida capitalize on it right now?
Westbrook's got to get inbounds first. She just does, as Peoples wants to go baseline, runs into traffic and couldn't get it to go. Williams yanks down the board, and then a foul over the top on Florida. That's on Ronnie. After
the rebound foul, you're going in to try to get the jump ball. You don't have it back up, but you see they have to be the aggressor right now. They have to be aggressive. Cassie Peoples drives to the basket. Nothing falling for Florida. Ronnie Williams, a great rebound, but then just gets that call from behind.
That is the third foul on Ronnie Williams. Both team with one infraction through the first 45 seconds of this final quarter. Here's Butler. He's in foul trouble as well for the Dogs, and they'll call a foul underneath on the Gators.
Carly Needles trying to battle down low against a much bigger Barbie, and she's posting up. She gets that over the back call. Carly Needles, again, another player for Florida. They really need her to get going offensively in this fourth quarter. 1 of 3 shooting tonight, only 2 points.
Volleyball season's over, but Westbrook was looking for maybe a tryout for next season for Mary Wise's team, swatting that one out of bounds, making life as difficult as possible for Tiaria Griffin, who comes right back off the inbounds and can't hit the triple. But a strong rebound down low. Roberts can't get the putback. Westbrook pushing ahead for Florida. Peoples open for the 3. Got that one to go, and Florida's a little bit closer.
And I think that's what Florida needs to do. You got to knock down big shots in transition, and you hear the crowd erupt. Florida's got a good crowd tonight. You want to use your 6th man if you're Florida right now. Really get this crowd involved. Get a stop here defensively and another basket offensively.
Peoples with 10 points in her 10th double-figure game of the year. As close as Florida's been since the start of the third quarter, and that will help Georgia get a little bit more space. Tiaria Griffin showing exactly why she's a senior playmaker for the Bulldogs with her 15th point.
I was going to say, you've got some seniors on this Georgia team that don't want to lose to Florida, especially on the road. They want to take one from this Florida team, where you see Florida just again struggling offensively to find the best shot opportunity and sometimes forcing it a little bit too much.
And Barbie smartly wants to slow this down.
They're going to pull it out. I was surprised they took such quick shots to start off this fourth quarter. But they're going to look for the best opportunity. You see, they're winding down that clock. The shot might be there, but they're being disciplined and passing the ball around.
They've got a 13-point lead, and their star player with the ball in her hands. They'll give it up, and Florida draws a charge underneath. That is once again on Hempy. That's her 4th.
And we see the senior Cassie Peoples aware of that, saying, hey, we need to get her in some foul trouble. She hasn't been a big factor for Georgia this evening, but she can make big plays for them. She only has 2 points, 5 rebounds, but that's still big for this Florida team as she takes a little break.
This is such a strange rivalry. Obviously, Georgia overwhelmingly all-time controls it. 51 wins, 15 losses. But last year, Florida goes on the road, wins for the first time in Athens in a decade. Then they come back home against a Georgia team that lost 8 straight games, and they score season-low points and lose as the Gators travel right here and turn it over.
It's just, but it's a rivalry. It's not only a rivalry because it's Florida-Georgia, and there's a lot to go with that, but it's also a recruiting rivalry. You try to pull players from Georgia, from Florida. Georgia tries to pull them from Florida. Florida does the same from Georgia, and you want to win this game. This is a heated rivalry, and right now, Florida's going to have to dig deep to get this win.
Both teams now with 16 turnovers after the miscue by Lorenzen. Here's Roberts. Now Butler wants to control it. Barbie off the screen, wants the mid-range, can't get it. Lorenzen with a strong board, and now Westbrook once again asked to push. Here's Chris Nocky, the freshman of the week, who's been quiet. Wide open 3 for Westbrook, can't get it to go. That's just been the story of the day for Florida, as Lorenzen into traffic, probably needs to get a timeout, and she'll get it from the bench. Amanda Butler sees the sophomore in trouble, and she'll call a timeout. We will take a timeout with 7 minutes and change remaining. Georgia leading 13 here in Gainesville.
On the road, and you had Florida getting ranked for the first time in quite a few years, and they need to establish that. They got to come in this last 7 minutes and really make a statement, and that's going to start defensively. But underneath out of bounds, we talked about it, has been great for them. They've got to get a quick bucket here. Expect them to probably jump into a full court press and really pressure this Georgia team.
Officials discussing something unknown at the scores table. That's our crew chief, Eric Bruton. He says, play on, so we will. Peoples for Kristanaki, the freshman. Strong take inside and a good finish.
And just like that, Florida getting a quick offensive set, hopping into a full court press.
Kristanaki now with 7 points, 3 rebounds, only 1 assist today. That's the key number for her. And after 10 last time out, Georgia's really kept her in check and off the floor. Griffin had a window there for the 3. Again, the Dogs want to run a little bit more clock, and now the senior point guard will help them do that. Here's Barbie. Double team from Batchelor and Kristanaki. 5 seconds to shoot. Butler has 2 seconds. Is going to run out of time. They will run out of time. Strong defensive stand there from Florida.
And that's what Florida needs. They need that consecutively. Now going on the offensive end, find something that's working for them. They had a nice drive to the basket by the freshman, the SEC freshman of the week, who has been held, like you said, a little bit in check, only 7 points and a few assists, 3 assists on the night, something that she's been used to getting a little bit more of.
Florida's forced 17 turnovers. They've scored only 10 points off those turnovers. Credit the Georgia defense for that. Kristanaki finding Westbrook. Lorenzen asking for it inside, but just not enough space among the trees. Here's Peoples, the 3 from the corner, got it again.
And anytime Florida hits a big shot, you hear the crowd erupt. That's the energy that Florida needs to feed off of right now.
And Westbrook dives and gets a steal. She goes to ground. Ronnie Williams gets fouled. And just like that, Florida can make this a 6-point game.
Yeah, and they're not going away. Florida's saying, hey, we're fighting back. We've done it before. We can do it again. And with just under 6 minutes left in the game, you see Cassie Peoples, a big-time player, hitting big-time shots, knocking down a 3 in the corner, and then comes right back at it and gets a steal, lays out on the floor, gets it to her post player who's running the floor up for a shot, and she gets fouled in that.
Ronnie 2 for 2 from the line today. But fourth quarter free throws continue to be a problem. Florida now 0 for 3 and below 50% for the game.
And you know, that's something they're going to be kicking themselves with a little bit, because you change those numbers around and you're right in this ball game.
It's the same thing the men's team had to address after going 4 for 12 and a 3-point loss at Texas A&M on Tuesday. And Ronnie will make the second. She's got 9 points, 6 boards, and 4 assists. It's a 7-point game with under 6 to go. You hear the crowd starting to get a little bit more in it, especially behind us here on the opposite side of the bench. Butler wants to calm things down for the Dogs. Roberts harassed by Williams. Now Butler back to Griffin, 10 seconds to shoot. Slings it for Washington, trying to get around Lorenzen and quiets the crowd with a jumper.
And just like that, Georgia responds. They're responding to what Florida's putting out right now. They're hitting a shot, and Georgia's going down on the other end and hitting a big shot of their own.
And remember, Washington was the player who picked up that 4th foul at the end of the quarter, and then they waved it off, as Ronnie Williams can't save that bad pass by Peoples.
And that's a crucial possession for Florida. You've got to get an attempt at least at the basket. Let your players try to get a rebound if it's not a great shot. So again, stops by Florida defensively right now, and not allow Georgia to use a lot of the clock, because that's what they're looking to do, is burn this clock down.
Washington, by the way, a career high 13 points here tonight. Nice job to break the press there and find Butler.
And I think that's what Georgia has done. They've broken Florida's press enough times that they feel confident in it, and that's something that Florida hasn't really adjusted to, a little bit of amping up that pressure. They did just a minute ago, but they've got to amp it up a little bit more down the stretch.
What a catch in traffic from Roberts, and one. A huge play for the Dogs as the shot clock was about to expire.
And you see Roberts, that guard forward, playing big down low, averages 7.3 points, and she powers up strong to get the and one play.
She's into double figures, and that's a big one for the Dogs. They go back up by 11 with under 5 to go here on the SEC Network. The biggest problem for Florida, Georgia's got 3 players in double figures. They've got just the lone Gator and Peoples, as the end one is no good, but the board from the SEC's best rebounder in Barbie.
As you saw the Ninja Turtle come out from behind the screen, maybe throwing her off a little bit.
The band known to throw on costumes at the last possible second.
But in something like that, you must box out. You can't give up that offensive board.
Boy, a bucket right here would be huge for Georgia. Barbie wants it from the mid-range, won't get it. Rebound for Ronnie Williams. playing with 4 fouls, has to be careful as she goes around Butler. And an open look, Peoples, little shot fake with a foot and then short. And then a foul underneath. Ronnie Williams was cut out from underneath, and she'll shoot.
And I think you see right now Ronnie Williams playing with a little bit more fire than she has the previous quarters. You can see it kind of turned up a little bit right now. I think she sees that sense of urgency. There's 4 minutes left in this ball game, and someone's going to have to step up and lead this team. And right now, Ronnie's looking to do that, as well as Cassie Peoples.
Correction, foul is on the floor, and it's the 5th against Roberts. She is done. Gators try and find Peoples in traffic. Nice adjustment there around the big. And Peoples continues to shine. She's got 15, more than double almost everyone else in the team.
You see again Georgia trying to stall a little bit, run that clock down. They want to keep this lead against a very aggressive Florida team right now defensively.
Every time Florida gets it to single digits, Georgia answers. Barbie, beautiful find inside for Washington to rattle it home.
The guard to post play right now for Georgia is just looking phenomenal. That was a great read and a phenomenal finish down low.
3 ball from Kristanaki, way short, but Westbrook there for the putback and one. A late clumsy foul there for Georgia.
A late whistle for Georgia. The ball had almost already gone through the net, but they're calling it an and one play. She's going to take one shot from the free throw line, but that's hustle. That's staying with it, getting the ball off the rim. A nice call by the baseline ref, and again, the clock stops for this Florida team, exactly what they need right now.
And the key for Florida, though, Britt, and it's kind of obvious at this point, cannot trade baskets at this juncture of the game.
No, you have a chance right now to make it a 10-point ball game, or actually go a little bit under that, and you see you've got to get those stops. But again, free throws plaguing
another missed
Florida.
free throw. Now under 50% for one of the best teams in the conference.
And if you're Coach Butler right now, you've got to be a little bit frustrated. You probably don't know that stat right off the bat, but you know they're not falling, and something that will probably be addressed.
And they've really made up ground in a lot of other areas. They've shot the ball much better. They've cut the rebounding deficit from 11 down to 3 as Georgia gets called for 5 seconds, or no, they'll give them a timeout just before that whistle came from under the basket.
Florida again jumping into their full court press. You're going to see, I think, that for the entirety of this game. They've got to get defensive stops. But on that, Georgia has done a great job of breaking the press, making that skip pass to find the open player, and then holding the ball if the play isn't there. They're not forcing the layup. If they don't see the layup there, they're holding the ball back. So Florida's going to have to be active and be really on point with their defense and their rotations defensively.
And as you look at the final 3:29 of this game, Georgia is over the limit. Florida's in the bonus, but on this night, Britt, I'm not sure if that's a good thing for the Gators because clearly they're struggling mentally with the free throws.
With the free throws, and you've got to snap out of that, and you've got to snap out of it quick because you're trying to fight back into this ball game. So Florida needs someone to get fouled, step to the line, knock down 2 free throws so everybody can see it go in, because that speaks volumes sometimes.
And it started with Needles missing 2. Maybe it's something about your senior leader and one of your best free throw shooters going 0 for to start the game had some sort of ripple effect, because Florida has not gotten on track in that department. Trying to win despite that. Down 9 as Georgia again running the clock down. Griffin to Butler. Barbie back to Butler. Entry to Washington. She's been huge today, but she's short that time. And Fleming's got the loose rock. Peoples has been the hot hand with 15 points. Wants a 3. Off the mark. And the board grab of the freshman Washington, who dribbled it off her foot and gave it back to the Gators.
And you see Florida, a quick shot in transition. Not necessarily a bad shot from your hot hand, Cassie Peoples. She's got 15 points, and you've got to get some points quick. But when you're taking those shots, you've got to have rebounders. You've got to have your rebounders in place. And if you're a big right now for Florida, you've got to hit the boards hard. You've got to attack the glass. And every rebound in your mind has to be yours, whether that's offensively or defensively. And
surprisingly, Peoples is going to come off the floor here with 2:51 left, which doesn't give Florida a lot of hot scorers on the court. Try and find Fleming. Now Kristanaki once again asked to take it. She'll pop the jumper and score. Her 9th point of the night.
And she's somebody who can get hot down the stretch as well for this Florida team. She plays big in big moments.
Gators need more stops, though. Still down 7 with 2.5 to go. And you know Georgia's going to use that shot clock and milk it all the way down.
They're being extremely disciplined offensively, running that shot clock and trying to get the best shot opportunity, not forcing anything.
That's what you expect from a team with all this experience on the court right now. Griffin, the three, way off the mark, but a loose ball collected by Washington.
But it didn't hit
the
the
shot clock did not reset. Butler will try a prayer, and now the long rebound gathered by Kristanaki. Trying to get through traffic. No look pass. Needles, can she find the three? It's way off the mark. And that's tipped out, almost out of bounds, but kept alive by Georgia. That was a huge miss for Florida.
Huge bucket, a huge opportunity, and taken by one of your best three-point shooters in Carly Needles right now. Just not on the mark tonight, but she can knock down that shot. She's done it before. She's done it time and time again, and you just see a little bit of frustration on her face because she knew she had it, and she had a great look at the basket.
That would have shifted the paradigm of the final 2 minutes here.
And
Florida
would have
had
erupted.
Huge momentum. Meanwhile, Needles, in her first game ever as SEC Player of the Week, is just 1 for 4 and has missed all of her threes. And that one certainly looms the largest. As Westbrook trying to force a call here against Butler. Two crafty players working one-on-one. Hempy's got 4 fouls. She's got to be careful. Now playing off the ball. Butler wants the mid-range. Couldn't quite get the roll, but Hempy's there for the board. Ronnie Williams stripped it, but first they'll call a jump. The arrow favors Florida.
And you see the hustle by two great post players down low. Two players in Hempy and Williams who have 4 fouls. So I like to see that they're both battling even though they have those fouls on them, because you can't just back off and let someone get an easy bucket right now down the stretch.
This is a must-have possession for Florida with only 90 seconds remaining. Kristanaki, the mid-range again, and she's getting hot.
And just like that, Florida says, hey, we're going to lean on our freshman right now who's playing very well for us down the stretch.
Barbie spins out of the pressure, now picked up by Fleming. Washington again had a huge mismatch and takes advantage.
And she's done that all night. She's recognized the mismatch and made it count.
Westbrook, nice crossover move. Couldn't get the call, then gets it late, and she'll shoot 2 with just 1:04 remaining.
You have to credit Georgia. They've had big answers for Florida's push down the stretch. They've come down time and time again and hit those buckets when they've needed it.
And Washington's just been a huge surprise. Last year against the Gators, she scored 1 point. Today, she's got 17 to lead all scorers, and might very well be the reason that Georgia wins if they do prevail here in the final 64 seconds, as Westbrook just continues to follow this trend for the Gators. And it shows you how this is a team-wide funk when you have an 80% free throw shooter that's clanging back-to-back ones like she has.
I mean, Florida just struggling from the line right now. And like you said, an 81% free throw shooter on the season. This is the first and barely gets the roll on the second.
Down 6, 1:04 left. I've got to get stops. Georgia has had those answers every time. It's because they've broken the press just like that. And now a touch foul called.
The backcourt.
I believe in the backcourt. That's on Kristanaki.
I wasn't even near the...
And that's her 4th foul. Amanda
Yeah,
Butler saying,
the ball was all the way in the half
Yeah.
court. But you see, again, Georgia pulling it back out. It was a 2-on-2 situation there, and they said, hey, we're going to run some more clock.
Now, the question for Barbie, who's not a great free throw shooter, is can she step up when it's on the line? 0 for 2 today from the line, 69% on the year for the senior. Preseason All-SEC second-team selection. And perfect with her first. Talk about coming back strong. We told you she missed the final 10 games of last year. Opened the season against Stetson with the 3rd triple-double in Georgia's history.
And that's when you know you're hungry.
That's how you announce your arrival.
You get back on the court and just making plays left and right to get a triple-double. That just speaks volumes about the player they have in their senior Barbie.
Too strong on that. And then a lane violation on Florida.
They called it on Eliana Kristanaki on that top position, stepping in, trying to close out and really pinch on that backside, but stepped in a little bit too soon.
Boy, the little things, Britt, have loomed very large in the final moments of this game.
And it's the little things in a night when Florida struggled to score offensively.
Currently at a season low, 54 points. Misses the second free throw, though, so doesn't take advantage of the second chance. And now the Gators got to score quickly. Kristanaki got stripped, and then I'll stay with Florida. Barbie was the last one to touch it.
You can see Florida with that sense of urgency. They've got to get some points, and they've got to get it quick.
As far as shooters on the floor right now, you've got Kristanaki and Peoples, and it's pretty much it as far as three-point threats, because Westbrook is ice cold over a long stretch of games now. And between Lorenzen and Williams, neither one of them are very likely to step out. And now we'll have another discussion here and a replay review to see who the ball went out off of. Barbie seemed pretty insistent that it was off of the Gators.
And the Gators right now sitting at a season low in points totals by far right now. Really have not been able to see the ball go through the basket very often and tried to find that and combat that. When you don't see it go through, you've got to pick up your defense. They've done that down the stretch, but do they have enough time left to turn this game around?
They're going to look at this once again and see who the ball went out off of. And Kristanaki swiped at it, but I don't think she actually touched it.
I don't know if she touched it, but when it rolled out, when she was holding it, did it roll off the Georgia's hands when she kind of pulled it out of her hand? I don't know that Kristanaki touched it when she was reaching for it.
Let me ask you this, though. We talk all the time about instincts with players. Reaching for it the way that she did, does that suggest that she thought it went off of her, and that's why she was trying to save it?
I think sometimes she didn't know where it was, and when she saw it was going out of bounds, it's just a natural reaction. You want to grab that ball. If it's not, because you don't know who necessarily they're going to call it out on, so you want to be, if you can get it, you want to get it, depending on the game situations. But she wants to try to grab that ball.
After the review, ball will stay with the Gators with 54 seconds, and I gotta have it possession right now. Georgia staying aggressive defensively. They've been reading the passing lanes all night long.
And that's from your big. That's Hempy.
That's
she's
with 4 fouls as well.
With 4 fouls. A lot of times you see players with 4 fouls kind of, play off a little bit, let the bucket go through, let the pass go through, but super aggressive right now.
Peoples gets it right back, quickly gets covered up. Looking down low, Ronnie Williams in traffic will get fouled, and she'll go to the line.
And for Florida, the clock stops. And they've got to get that clock to stop, but again, you're going to have to get a defensive stop if you're Florida. And if you're Georgia, you're going to just continue to do what you've done. Try to break the press, stay calm, and hold the ball out and make Florida foul you.
One thing working in the Gators' favor is that Georgia's not a very good free throw shooting team tonight and overall. But the problem is neither of the Gators, at least on this evening. Ronnie Williams today is 3 of 4. And knocked down that. She's done her end of the bargain.
She's trying to get that double-double. She's sitting on 9 rebounds. She now has 10 points. She's trying to be that force down low for Florida. She's brought that energy the fourth quarter. Just do they have enough down the stretch?
Trying to make it a 5-point game. Can't do it. Critical misses. And then a quick timeout called by Georgia. And Florida will go back and they will lament 10 of 20 in what is right now a 6-point game.
I mean, you just hit.
Important game, and as of right now, not looking great for the Gators. Florida's going to have to foul eventually, and they will here. Send Butler to the line, and she is a 69% shooter.
And I think what's going to be important is if Georgia ends up winning this ball game, how is Florida going to respond to that at home on Sunday against LSU? How do you bounce back off of that, being ranked 20th, losing, and coming back to your home court?
Butler is 1 for 2 from the line today. Makes a money free throw. Georgia with a lot of experience on the floor. Butler is a senior. Barbie is a senior. Griffin is a senior. Hempy is a senior. And they have 4 seniors on the floor.
And for them, it's the last time they're going to play Florida at Florida. And you want to take that away from your rival, from their home court. And, Florida will have a chance to go back to Georgia later in the season and do the same.
Butler connects on both. Has done her job today leading the team. 7 points, 4 rebounds, only 2 assists.
It really hasn't been an assist night from 2 teams that are in the top 5 in assist leading per game in the SEC. Either team not, really finding that open player and knocking down shots. Florida only with 8 assists, Georgia with 10. 2 teams that average nearly 20.
The Gators now with 1 timeout remaining as they use the 32nd here. Remember, Georgia looking for their first SEC win after a string of 3 straight close losses against ranked teams in the league. Florida trying to stay above 500 and avoid going 0-2 at home in the SEC after 2-0 on the road.
And right now, if you're Florida, you're looking for a quick shot, quick first opportunity. If that's a 3, take it. If that's a 2, take it.
Florida advances the ball on that new rule. They'll launch inside. Ronnie Williams wide open for the stick-in.
Great out-of-bounds plays by Florida here tonight. They have converted on nearly all of them.
10 points, for Ronnie Williams. And she'll commit the foul. She's done, but had to do it. And they fouled Georgia's best free throw shooter.
That's a big loss for Florida, as Ronnie Williams has come in strong down the stretch for them. And that's one of their big forces. You see her connect on that last play. But someone had to foul. No one could get it. You can't not foul in that situation.
She'll come 1 rebound shy of her 7th double-double of the year, but a strong performance for Ronnie as she fouls out for the 5th time this season.
Florida playing this till the end. You know, there's still time on the clock. There's still a chance to win this ball game. If Georgia misses some free throws, you know, Florida can knock down some big shots still in this ball game with 40 seconds.
And just a 2-possession game
Absolutely.
right now, 6 points. Georgia taking everybody off the block, which shows a supreme confidence in an 82% shooter who
how confident they
confirms
are
that confidence.
In their free throw shooter right now. The senior stepping to the line and knocking down the first.
Griffin from Monticello, Mississippi, had 17 in the last game against Florida. Guess what? She's got 17 today against Florida. 8-point game with 41 seconds. Peoples has to hurry here, trying to get space into the lane. Ty Fleming is going to score her first points of the night.
That's a great find by Cassie Peoples on the run, and you see Carlito's running up there to try to get the quick foul. But a good read by Cassie Peoples. The shot wasn't there. You got your cutting big.
And again, the awareness of Georgia and the smarts of experience, immediately getting inbounds to your best shooter.
And if you're Florida, that's someone who you want to deny heavy, try to jump on her. But yeah, you see, again, experience right now for Georgia. You're right.
She's the only player on the floor that shoots above 70%, as a matter of fact. 82% to be exact. For the 36th 1,000-point scorer in Georgia's illustrious history, but she misses one.
Everyone misses one eventually. That's why she's 81%.
Now 2 of 3 on the day. Florida hoping she misses a pair. Won't get their wish. Makes the 7-point game with just 30 seconds left. Westbrook trying to get inside. Strong take to the basket. Got the and one. That's the old-fashioned way to do it if you can make the free throw.
And that's why you take what the defense is giving you. If they close out on that 3, take that opportunity to go to the basket. That was a strong take. She takes it full court, reads the defense, splits the defense there, and just a strong take to the basket and finishes. Now can you finish at the line? Florida needs these points right now.
9 points for Westbrook, the JUCO All-American. And Hempy, by the way, is fouled out of the game, the second Georgia player to walk off the court tonight.
A big rebounder for Georgia down the stretch in a game that's, you know, getting closer and closer.
Westbrook is 1 for 3 from the line. Misses again. An 81% free throw shooter goes 1 for 4 in the closing minutes. And you can see the frustration written all over her face.
That is one that's very frustrating, is stepping to the line and missing free throws consistently. As a player, that is just something so hard. You want to step to that line and knock them down with confidence, especially when you know you're a good free throw shooter. And you miss those shots that can bring your team closer to a win.
And now Griffin back to the line where she's 3 of 4 and makes it 4 of 5. Florida previously shot a season-low 50% at Tennessee. But 5 of 10 was not a big factor in that game. Today, 46% on 10 of 22. That's a huge factor in a game that's probably going to be decided by single digits. As Westbrook unable to find Peoples, and that is going to do it. Florida will foul, but at this point, it is out of reach. The Dogs are going to win again here in Gainesville for the 4th straight year.
And you see Griffin creeping up. She now has 20 points. A lot of them coming from the line down the stretch as she steps to it again. And, you know, just a miss for Florida here tonight.
And she is a player who has just excelled against Florida. And
she really has.
That's, as Amanda Butler talks about all the time, it's one of the reasons you come to Florida. You come to Georgia to play in rivalry games, and she's been money, 21 points.
You have your in-state rivalry games. Florida has Florida-Georgia, Florida State, and then you have your out-of-state, and that is definitely Florida-Georgia. And like you said, you come to play those games, those heated rivalries.
Missed another one here late. Florida will call a timeout, but they're down 8 with 14.5 seconds left. So Amanda Butler will use her final timeout here. Florida has made just 3 of 10 in the 4th quarter.
That makes it hard to win basketball games when you're trying to fight back from a deficit.
Peoples trying to find space for a deep 3, and the clock never started. That's the second time this has happened today. Although this is a little bit easier because it never started late, so you just restart the whole thing.
And good for Florida because they didn't get the look they quite wanted right away, and some time went off the clock. So Florida gets to reset and try to run it. They're going to run in a new player.
We'll get Lorenzen in the game.
Run out Carly Needles.
And Needles will come out. Needles
which makes you think maybe they're going for a quick 2.
Interesting, down 8 with 14 seconds left. Maybe they're looking for the N1 again.
Yeah, absolutely, which they've been successful with. Getting the foul for the N1, just not knocking down the free throw.
And now they're going to review it again here, but I'm not sure what there is to review because they know the clock never started and nothing happened after that. So unless they're going to take a few seconds off and then reset Florida out of bounds.
Double check down the stretch, make sure they get it all right so there's no, they didn't handle it the right way. So
will they then take a few seconds off here and tell Florida, okay, you've got 11 seconds instead of 14?
The clock never started, though, so you'd think they would just start
but
it where
before,
it was.
They played revisionist history, and they said, on our stopwatch, this is what happened. So if that's the standard,
will they take it off?
You would think they'd take the time off if it's consistent with what we saw.
And how much time was played? Do they have a stopwatch over there saying, hey, we're going to take this much time off the clock? It's a very good question, valid question from what we saw earlier in the game.
It's almost like a Supreme Court decision. Did you set precedent for the future with a prior call that you made?
The ref's getting some good air time here this evening.
And let's see if they're going to talk to the coaches about it or if we're just going to go right back where we were.
Yeah, great time for a timeout, though. You don't have to call your timeout.
Sure.
Florida, who was out of timeouts, now gets another chance to talk about it and possibly get a different play in.
And it's giving Albert a chance to do the stanky leg, which is incredibly impressive.
Looks like he hurt his leg a little bit.
That's kind of what the stanky leg looks like when it's done properly. He's I don't know if he's hurt or if he's flowing over there. It's hard to tell. LSU, by the way, right now is down 39-25 third quarter at Vanderbilt. They just cannot score the basketball. And we'll see them on Sunday. But first, Florida with 9.5 seconds. They did take time off the clock. Peoples cannot get open for the 3. And that is just kind of the story of today's game. Florida will foul. And that will finally do it.
Yeah, and you see Barbie not biting on that fake. She jumped up once, but couldn't get the shot off, and she tries to throw another fake, does Cassie Peoples, but Barbie right there in her face altering that three-point shot.
For the Bulldogs, they're going to get their first SEC win, and they go to Alabama. The Crimson Tide fell tonight by 13 points at Auburn.
They're one of their arch rivals.
Sure. Lots of rivalries here in the SEC, and speaking of which, a big one. South Carolina visiting Kentucky. Gamecocks stay unbeaten, 73-62. They are clearly for real, but the question is anybody good enough to compete with UConn at the end of the day?
That is the question out in women's basketball right now. They are a great, great basketball team, and they just score any way they want to, really.
Griffin will have a chance to pad the stats a little bit more, and she'll do that as Chris Snodky fouled out, trying to send her to the line. And she'll have a chance to make this a 10-point game, get it outside single digits. And she'll do just that. Game high 23 points for Tiaria Griffin. As Peoples will have one last gasp here for Florida, and she's not going to get a shot off. And that, Britt, kind of summarizes the way this night went for Florida and how it went for Georgia on the flip side.
Yeah, Georgia came in here and really kind of set that tempo early. It wasn't a high offense game like Florida likes to see. Only 61 points for Florida, so Georgia coming in here and taking one on the home court of the Gators.
71-61 the final. Georgia improves to 52.